Hello everyone, Fangs of Fire here, and welcome to the first knockout phase game of the League of Dracula 2025. Today we have a matchup between a Wombat and a Wizard. One of them the former bring his combat skills, and the latter bring pizza? That is a very odd thing to bring to a fight. But, joking aside, we have CombatWombat playing as the Hunters, and PizzaWizard playing as Dracula. As I understand, PizzaWizard selected Dracula for the first game. I'm guessing, if for no other reason than perhaps, since Dracula win rates have been low, he probably wanted to get this one out of the way first to warm up before his hunting match. That is only a guess. Evil presence. Okay. Lol. Okay. And CombatWombat has gone superior start. Okay. Jonathan Harker. Wow. Evil presence and Jonathan Harker has the very first two draws. Holy bullets. Okay. So, PizzaWizard ended up as the number 5 seed. So, he is, I suppose, more like middle-ish of the pack in terms of how difficult his road will be. CombatWombat will have a slightly more difficult challenge. Well, at least just as difficult a challenge. I mean, he'll first have to get past PizzaWizard, and then he'll have to get past whoever wins between Mr. Green and his opponent. Take a quick peek. Andersot, yes. And then from there, then he'll be facing whoever makes it to the semifinals in the other quarter of the bracket. Is the knockouts are a long process, but this is of course only game 1. Between them, and apparently they will be playing the reverse matchup tomorrow same time. Oh, High Scouts. What have we got? Checking Amsterdam because it's PizzaWizard, I imagine. So no Amsterdam, no Valona. Okay. Very well, very well. Yep, tickets, supply. Same old stuff. But, yeah. I believe that PizzaWizard was one of those who finished with a score of 10-6. CombatWombat ending with, I think, I'd like to say 7-7? 7-9? I don't have the table in front of me, but I know it was higher than some, but also not the highest. Rufus Smith. Okay. And since you already have Jonathan Harker, unless you have a newspaper, I would definitely search. Yeah. Which, speaking of newspapers, he's with Misdirect, so, which is very interesting how that not misdirecting that first spot is becoming much more meta these days. Excellent weather on Mina. Okay. That's a new development. let's see. Nighttime trade between those two, yeah. Not at all unusual. At least when it's superhero starts. A trade between Spoon and Glaming this early would be very unusual. Well, if it was like almost any other setup other than Oktoberfest. But generally speaking, trades between Glaming and whoever he is with are to be expected. This early in the game. Alright. Okay. Rumoring is first place. Going for the early 6 or 7 points. Given that they have Jonathan Harker in play, I would be misdirecting this space every time. That extra day of just not knowing where it is, I could save. It could save all the difference between this maturing and not maturing, depending on where it is. Eiffel. Okay. Okay. Skyring Holy Bullets, what you gonna show now? Oh, local rumors. That's the right place to, that's definitely the place they want to draw it. So, good for the hunters. Good to know that it's not anywhere down there. So now you may end up moving Lena out of Spain. So, yeah, since there's been, since my viewers have had a full, anti-load Terminator, since my viewers have had a full league phase to, like catch up on at least some details on all the players at this point. I'm not going, I have not bothered with introductions, as CombatWombat and PizzaWizard are both rather well known by now. Oh, Hypnosis, training the excellent weather onto Van Helsing. Wonder if it's worth using it this early. Okay, so the question is, did hunters get early newspaper? Wolf form? Yeah, makes sense. Put it in range of the rumor tokens that if it matures, you can get the wolf form back. But at the same time, like, put some distance between between this and this, between put a good amount of distance between you and the place that you rumored. Make it, shall we say, less likely that they will just bumble straight into you while they're chasing the rumor token. Getting to a place where he can start making a fresh trail makes sense. Okay. So, local rumors at Vienna. So that's both local rumors in this card. And yeah, we also had an evil presence. So there's only one proxy event left. For that might, depending on when it happens, be useful for locating whether Dracula's at sea or not, or rather where Dracula is at sea. Yeah, he already drew local rumors here in Madrid, so he's moving it out now that he knows that he isn't in that area. Oh, hello. Okay then. That is interesting. Moving to Bordeaux that early. I'm not sure how much I like that. And today will form down into Spain? Now that the local rumors are both gone? I wonder. Interesting. Very interesting. People in chat, any guesses as to where this rumor token is? Wolves? Okay, that's no big deal. As long as Wombat is doing one weapon, that is not all a big deal. Pistol? Okay. Sure. 2 damage, no big deal. Jonathan Harker, first location is the Havre. Okay, I was actually wondering if it was like it was rumor token hide at Toulouse, go to Bordeaux, and then wolf form to Le Havre. So he was playing. So PizzaWizard at least was planning to put a lair, and likely is still planning to put a lair at Le Havre. So in this case, I actually would use the excellent weather so that you can get there before it becomes a lair, and therefore not have Van Helsing inconvenienced. Okay. Yep, excellent weather. So that you can avoid getting caught. Okay, hide. Not hide. Yeah. It's going to be either that or not Clermont-Ferrand or Paris Clermont-Ferrand. There are only so many options for how this was going to go. So, new vampire. Okay. I will say that this is looking pretty good for the hunters. They've caught the early trail without having the need of any serious events. And they have gotten on the move probably a little bit sooner than PizzaWizard would have hoped them to. Ooh, ouch. Let's see how this combat goes. Mez into escape. Okay, just typical stuff. Alright. Plotting. And he did dodge. Okay. So Mia will suffer a little. In this combat. Strength into escape, yeah. And typical plotting cancels that, so it does connect. Yeah, this is a very typical vampire ambush. Vampire ambushes most of the time in the early game almost always translate to the hunter. The hunter just takes 2 damage and they escape while they are escaping, or they actually get plotted on and then end up taking 4 damage instead. Claws, escape. Okay. Yep. So Mia took 4 damage from that vampire. What is in the other? What is it under the hide card? Is it another vampire? Bats. Okay. Fortunately, she already disarmed the wolves trap that was there. So those bats, while they are a nuisance, it is really not a big deal as to like what happens with them. Okay. I suppose she'll like bunch her back to Bordeaux. I'd a guess. So yeah, what will do the hunters have a stake to deal with this, or rather, does Van Helsing specifically have a stake to deal with this? Because if he doesn't, then it may still mature, because Mino will still be delayed by day. So okay, bunch it into the half, fair enough. So yeah, the current question is, can the hunters deal with this? Because if not, Dracula will be getting wolf form. PizzaWizard will be getting wolf form back. He will be getting hide back, and he will be getting Bordeaux back after triggering its encounter. Okay, Okay. The fact that Van Helsing's moving there seems to say that he does indeed have a stake. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. mesmerize into escape again. Yep, typical stuff. Typical vampire ambush. Strength. And dodge. Okay. No plotting this time. Okay. At least for now. That is. Okay, and then now we got claws into escape. Alright. So this time, CombatWombat got away with only 2 damage rather than 4. So that's good for him. And these... Yeah, those are... I mean, that's in quick succession. The 2, like, standard... vampire ambush, early game vampire ambush, like formulas as to what tends to happen. In those vampire ambushes. So it's looking more and more as if he will form down into Spain. In which case, the hunters will soon have him under quite a bit of pressure. To leave by sea. I mean, he could. There is still Paris. He can be going through Paris into Brussels, Cologne, and like through Paris to Brussels into northern Germany. So it's not exclusively Spain yet. But it could be. We shall see. We shall see. Surprising return. Okay. I wonder if he has a second surprising return. If he's summoning Rufus Smith. Okay, checking Paris. Okay, I suppose that was probably worthwhile, as that does save you some time. But I do hope he has a second speed telegraph, because or surprising return. Sorry. Because this could easily. Because whether or not they have Rufus Smith could easily change the outcome of the game, one way or another. Yep, at this point we know enough to say that it is for sure will form down into Spain. Let's see. Yeah, moving me into Seward to heal faster. Makes sense. Makes sense. I think that if you're Dracula, if you're PizzaWizard, you probably want to leave now. Because even though they haven't gone through much of the event deck, Renewed Vigor is still a definite possibility. And sense of emergency, you know that everyone but Van Helsing has a horse. Like sense of emergencies, charred carriage. There's still plenty of ways hunters can get it on you. I. What next? Okay, so he went to Madrid then, which seems to say that he wolf formed, like, either to Saragossa, which may seem weird, but wait, well, except that he just came from Saragossa, so never mind that. From Lisbon to get him to like circle to Granada and then to Madrid. Okay, I think that Van Helsing should sit there and supply, at least for one day, because he did spend his stake to kill the new vampire. So therefore, it is probably a good idea for him to fetch a new item, and he's on the rail line, so he can get even as far as Lisbon if need be. Or alternatively, he can, like, if he trades with Seward, he could give Seward never mind. If Van Helsing has a sense of emergency, he can get literally anywhere in Spain from where he is. Mob. Okay, that's not really that bad. So if Dracula stays here any longer, that is, I would say, just a mistake. It is definitely a bit very risky, because they don't even need an Invigor to just stumble upon you and pile on top of you. Okay, and confirming that it was the Lisbon. So unless he hid at Santander, he went down south first, so he'll likely be at Alicante or Santander now. Make that likely South Atlantic or Mediterranean Sea. Okay. Lisbon. I suspect that John Seward's objective will be to discover what port he left from. Is it Alicante or Santander? Oh? Going there with Gulaming. Interesting choice. Wonder what that's for. Possibly Seward is more efficient trail clearing stuff. Okay, I would just supply with Seward with Van Helsing rather, because now you know that it's a Drac event on top, so you're not gonna overdraw. You're gonna refine your items a bit more. Wait till he moves by sea again. Okay, going over to Marseille? Okay, I can respect that. But doing that before you know which way he left from? Oh, you see, he did not leave from Alicante. So therefore he left from either Santander or Cadiz. He either went north to Santander and hid, and then went back to Madrid and then back down to Cadiz, or possibly something like the exact opposite. Godalming does have a pistol to destroy the saboteur, so no roadblock for him. So, therefore, we know that he's in the South Atlantic. So now, Van Helsing moved to the coast of the Mediterranean for essentially nothing. I suppose it does serve as a little bit of a deterrent for Dracula to try to go east, but chances are he'll do that anyway. Because when you think of the long term, it is still relatively early. It is early week 2, so okay, it was Cadiz and no hide, so Cadiz, Granada, and then he went Madrid, Santander. We now know that. So Seward will have to deal with Seward or Mina will have to deal with Cadiz. Meanwhile, the other of those two can move on Granada or Santander. Hopefully they can clear 2 locations in one go this time. So will Dracula go further north? Or will he instead go east? That's the question. Because it's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, Harker's still putting in a little bit of help. Although we had already like half guessed it was Cadiz, though it was possible it was Santander with a hide instead. But that was, in my opinion, unlikely. But one never knows. Okay. Yep, hoping to clear both of these locations in one go, and then they will be able to, like, all, if absolutely necessary, pile on Santander. I wouldn't be surprised to find another fighter vamp in this area. Despite the fact that PizzaWizard didn't place any rumor tokens, I would not at all be surprised to find another fighter vamp in this area, because reason behind that is, like, while Dracula was down here, I mean, they found out far sooner than he would have liked that he was down here, and therefore they started putting pressure on him a little bit sooner than he would have liked. Okay. Double aristocratic vampire, huh? Okay. So that means that Godalming will be the one to have to take on Santander. Oh, Wolfhorn ashore. So this will be either from North Atlantic or Mediterranean. Although the fact that this is Wolfhorn says that it's far more. Says to me that it's, at least seems to me more likely that it was Mediterranean, and he's just Wolfhorning to a place like Zurich. But now I mean, the hunters have their horses, so they can be horsing out of so they can just be horsing out of Spain now, and the fact and due to the fact that that Dracula started so deep in started so deep in Spain means that means that they don't have to really worry about layers coming out. That's a bit of an amusing one, CombatWombat. Do you think the aristocrat believes you because he distracts you by talking to you? Long revealing a knife. Okay. That's interesting. But, yeah. Money trail, so we will know which way he went. It was indeed Mediterranean Sea. So, yeah, now that... So, I'd like to think you had to search his palatial mansion to stake him. That's... okay. Alright. But... yeah, so they are making their way. So, the hunters are now once again hot on Dracula's heels. They've cleared his trail. All they have to worry about is him. And they know they will formed out of the Mediterranean Sea. The only thing that I worry about is, what if PizzaWizard has decided to do something really sneaky and try to wolf form into Alicante or Barcelona, and now will hide there, while they just go horsing out. Excuse me. On the yawning, please. But yeah, there is... and Dracula just needs to keep on the move. He needs to build a new trail now, because the hunters have already stamped out everything he left in Spain, and with horses they'll eventually catch up. Meanwhile, Van Helsing can continue to dig for, like, practically anything. We haven't seen a single newspaper. We haven't seen, we've only seen one hired scouts. There are plenty of things that could help speed them along. Yeah, that's I think is what's putting this very nicely in CombatWombat's. Currently, that CombatWombat definitely has an edge, and that's why he hasn't used any super big events to make this happen. He used one surprising return to check one remaining location before charging into Spain to deal with the trail there. But apart from that, he hasn't really used it. And I suppose there's money trail, but I mean, hey, sea movement is when it's supposed to be used. So this is looking good for CombatWombat, at least for now. Okay. Yep. Just get on the move. Get horsing out of Spain. Okay. Yep. Just supply with an housing, make his hands stronger. Definitely agree there. Yeah, I see that at some point Van Helsing traded off all his events. I missed exactly when, but he now has room to just sit there in Marseille, be the supply bot, draw our cards, like find any, like say the last Heavenly Host if they have CG, if it's still buried in the deck, do that sort of thing. Find Renewed Vigors, find the CG if they don't have it yet. That sort of thing. Supply I bought Van Helsing is on the job. Yeah, we have only Goldaming is damaged, and they have done a superb job of dealing with this, dealing with Dracula's trail so far. No one's gotten seriously hurt, so now they simply have to do their work of getting closer and closer to finishing the job. Okay, let's see. But anyway, and chat, how's your day going? While we wait for the next moment of suspense, how do you find the trail? It ended up being a hired. It ended up being Mina, like getting her horses in order, and then after pulling local rumors at Madrid, she horsed to Bordeaux, and there it was. It was Le Havre first starting location, then Nantes with a rumored vampire with a hide, with the bats under the hide at Nantes, into Bordeaux, and then a wolf formed into Spain, and that's what's been happening. Hello, Strider. Have you gotten in touch with Snuff yet as to when you will play AOR or matches? Yeah, no, it was not CAG. Why would PizzaWizard do CAG? That being said, I think CombatWombat has an advantage here, given the fact, even though it was not CAG, I think CombatWombat has the advantage, which you can probably see why I say that, because he's gotten. I am a little bit trolled that they didn't scan Spain after he landed back in, because this could be a Wolfram hide trick to Alicante. And he could. And I noticed that he didn't make Madrid a lair, or if he did, he quickly unmade it so he could be in Madrid now. That is the one worry I definitely do have, because he's now checked Clermont-Ferrand, Zurich, So unless it's Geneva, there's only Geneva and Genoa left. If it's not there, then they'll have to go charging right back into Spain. Although, mind you, that will be quite a spicy move by PizzaWizard to do that. Let's see. There's only one stake left. One was used on the new vampire, and 2 others were discarded. Speed Telegraph. Yeah, I agree that this is a good time to use it, because you can have Van Helsing move to Genoa as your first move. Okay, I would have sent Van Helsing to Genoa first. Okay, it was Geneva. Okay, so no harm done. No harm done. No harm done. Okay, apparently not Italy, Strider. La Hava is still there, so he hasn't been there. PizzaWizard probably should have removed that layer a while ago for more obscurity, but that seems to have slipped his attention because that's giving the hunter some information if they're paying enough attention. So there's still Paris, there's still Strasbourg. Okay, nope, not Paris. So next spot has to be Strasbourg then. Right, where do you check with Gul'daming? It depends on whether you have an escape route or heroic leap. I might go block Munich, personally. I just let the others deal. Oh, Cologne. Alright, so it was Strasbourg, then Cologne, and then where after that? I think that we all are having the same thought in regards to that. Okay, I would have supplied with Van Helsing. I gone an event. Yep, Amsterdam. And Strider is of course saying anything but the 2 options that are not Amsterdam. But there is also the option of Leipzig. But then again, PizzaWizard knows that he is famous for going to for repeatedly going to Amsterdam. So he may like intentionally choose to avoid that for a bit, especially as that allows him to stay on land a little bit longer. I personally would go Leipzig if I were PizzaWizard. At least from there. What have we got here? A hoax? Alright. That's a bit of a nuisance, considering that it delays, but now he did, Strider. Okay. That was a very swift turn by PizzaWizard. Okay, there's still Strasbourg. Oh, RV. Oh, so this is less than optimal since Mia is delayed, but Oh, caught him. Aina, does Gul'daming have forewarned? Because we could easily have a fog here. In fact, we know that Dracula has access to at least one fog. So if this is not forewarned, Gul'daming could definitely be in trouble. Although we do know from previous showings that Gul'daming has done that he has a pistol that he used to get rid of the saboteur after he searched it, and he also has a knife that he showed to wolves. Although that being said, I think there may have been a trade somewhere along the line. Cave, reckless vampire. And we have Jonathan Harker in play, and we drew Rufus Smith earlier, but but CombatWombat uses surprising return to check the one remaining non-Spain wolf form location before moving on Spain. So there's no Aggie. In short, there's no Aggie, but. Alright, okay, so Reckless Vampire gets a point. PizzaWizard is now on the board. Yeah, I suppose he'll likely supply. Just draw some cards, get some. Oh, and then again, I suppose he did just show a heavenly host to this, so we know that he's got the traditional horse knife heavenly host hand. Alright, are we going to see a fog? And there is no forewarned, apparently. At least not on Seward. So, yep, Dracula's gonna slip away for now. At least from these two. Mina, of course, doesn't get to move an inch because of the fact that she's delayed from the hoax. Okay, plotting into pistol. Oh, holy bullets? The irony of CombatWombat possibly using that against PizzaWizard. Up. Yeah, so while the fog is troubling, I mean, the fact that he cleared that vampire with so much ease, like, so long as Strasbourg can also be cleared with similar ease. No matter what the results of the tale say, I died a little inside. Okay, so there's another reckless at Strasbourg. Let's see how Van Helsing fares against this. This is... Aina... After this, things could get a little bit sticky for the hunters. Oh. Bad combat hand? Question mark? Okay. Well, okay. So if Van Helsing has the final stake, which I acknowledge that it's entirely possible that it's still just in the deck. So I would draw the card. Yeah, draw the event. Mina does have hypnosis to help with guiding the hunters once Dracula lands, and Dracula still needs 4 days of week 4 movement. And while he might be able to get in a feed before he goes to sea, due to the fact that the hunters are fogged. Oh, and there goes that vampire. The trail is clear. CombatWombat is in very good shape here. Despite me not getting to do anything all day, she is in very good shape. Trail is clear. He's just gonna feed, and then probably go to sea next turn. I mean, the thing is that Dracula knows Mina has hypnosis, so he'll likely do the obvious play of move Mina and Van Helsing to Paris. I agree that would be that would definitely be a perfectly fine move. I mean, this last fog will lift, so they'll be able to take off straight off into the North Sea after him if these two so desire. All right. But I would indeed move Van Helsing to a big city, and have him start supplying again, or just supply. Okay, I mean that's not bad, I say. Yeah, the hunters have that is one flaw with the hunters. While they have been doing an excellent job of not needing events to clear the trail, they can't. What they do not have is events for after they clear the trail, for finishing the job, or at least that's what it appears like. Okay, not moving too far away in case he decides to actually use the wolf form instead, as that's about to come off as well. Trading between Seward and Godalming to mix things up. I like that. The superhero mid game. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because it was actually a superhero setup. Strider at the beginning of the game, so although I will say that it is getting very close to late game now. So there is one fog in the discard for the reshuffle. That is good news for Dracula. But it also will provide the hunters with might provide the hunters with a small window where they can strike back, where they can strike without needing at least as much fear of fog. Okay, so I would move Van Helsing into a big city. In fact, yeah, I would move him to either to Paris or to Mina, so that we can. Okay, we still have that lair at Le Havre, so less than ideal, it will at least feel less than ideal to go there. But at this point, it may well be just a necessary evil. Okay. Yeah, he needs... Yeah, he does need to at least be prepared to use the hypnosis for when Dracula lands. Let me see, are there any speed telegraphs left? There is one, at least. Whether they have it is another matter entirely. Yeah, the fact that there hasn't been any surprising return after they spent one to rule out the final war form possibility before moving on to Spain, so there's no Rufus Smith. That is one piece of good news for PizzaWizard. However, how is he going to survive? It's going to be very difficult for him to survive and move 4 times during week 4. To secure those remaining 12 points. The hunters have been very, very efficient in clearing this trail. So this is interesting. I wonder, will he eventually clear the Le Havre lair? Or is he trying to reserve that to make hunters be a bit reluctant to block that off? And also, I suppose he may also be reserving it to make them a little bit harder for them to get to England, which I can definitely respect that. For sure. Okay, yeah. Second sea move. The hunters used Money Trail for his last sea voyage, so there's really only hypnosis, but they can get in position to block off. Mina can go to Nantes to block off North Atlantic. Possibly one of these two can go to sea to threaten England. While the other comes down this way. You think it's North Atlantic, Strider? We'll see. they could horse Mina. You're right, Strider. But I would like to think that they would want to. There is still one evil presence in the deck, so I would really like it if Mina were to move to Nantes, so that in the event he is there, and they draw that next turn, or at least you can rule it out as the most recent one. Okay, yeah, moving to a big city. I can totally respect that. Money Trail was used earlier. Strider. It's how they figured out that it was Wolfhorn from Med and not North Atlantic so quickly last time. That's apart from that, they haven't used and the renewed vigor that you saw. They did use one excellent weather to bring Van Helsing onto land before Le Havre would become a lair, so I respect that use of excellent weather. I think it was a reasonable play. But apart from that, they haven't used anything super big. Oh, Surprising Return is back. Hi there. Rufus, come back. Okay, so that will discourage Drac from going any further. But chances are he'll move one more anyway. Unless he went straight to English Channel. Might be used better as a free search. Well, that depends. I actually disagree with you there, Strider. Usually I would agree with that, but the fact of the matter is, oh, whoa, lots of night supplies for them now. Now they can supply on the move, get stocked up. So far they have only drawn only one of the 4 hired scouts. So in that pile there are 3 copies of hired scouts. With that, they ought to be able to, or did they draw 2? No, it was just the 1. Yeah. Of course, the longer that Dracula stays out at sea, the longer he gives them to prepare, because the hunters are getting better in position. The hunters are stocking up supplies and events to fight him with. Since there are 3 hired, normally if there had been more hired scouts drawn, I would agree with you, Strider, that Surprising Return would have been better saved for a search. But at this stage of the game, but since there is still Aggie in the pile for one thing, that could be used for a search, in theory. And then there's also 3 scouts in the pile. Okay, Wolfhorn ashore. Not sure whether Rufus made the difference as to whether when that happened or not. Let's see. Does he have Surprising Return? Long Night. Okay. I would have just kept that as like a mock forewarned. So no Surprising Return, so they'll have to wait until Mina goes to learn his whereabouts. That being said, I might actually send one of them to see. I do mean speed telegraph. What was I saying? I honestly don't remember. Sometimes I just don't know what comes out of my mouth. Yes, I was referring to speed telegraph. I was saying Surprising Return, probably because we were discussing that. but yeah, speed telegraph to make Mina go first and therefore tell you whether it's England or not would have been very useful. Naturally. Okay. I actually might have, in Seward's case, like forced him to Amsterdam. Therefore, that way he's still on the North Sea coast, but he's also closer to helping out for North Atlantic or English Channel, or rather, I suppose more specifically North Atlantic. Santander was not on Lair, so that can. But at least we know it is not Le Havre. All right, so now Van Helsing supplies, and now Mina will play Hypnosis, I imagine. All right. Oh, it looks as if he traded all Mina's equipment to Van Helsing. And considering the fact that she will be getting delayed by using Hypnosis, it's possible that that's the right thing to do. But, alright. Do you use Hypnosis, or do you instead simply scan by day? Scan today, and then, if it's not... scan by day and then simply ascertain it, use, and since it is not Gallia, you now know that it's either, use Hypnosis at night to basically figure out whether it's Santander or England. I think that's what he's doing. Yeah. And if they're lucky, they'll draw scouts and they won't need the Hypnosis. So... yeah, CombatWombat counting off his night supplies. Alright, time for Hypnosis. Which way did he go? Did he go to what I would assume is Swansea? Or did he go down to Spain? Oh, he's playing an interesting game, choosing not to do Hypnosis. That is interesting. I don't know. Will you save more time? Will you, in the long haul, save time by doing it this way? Because all you have to do is send someone to check Santander. And then you know for sure. I don't know. That's a tricky one. An interesting one though. Because, yeah, we've got us stuff to... I mean, this is our last day before it enters week 4. And then PizzaWizard will start scoring points. Unless the hunters get on him again. Alright. We never saw a single newspaper. So it's possible that he's looking for one of those evil presence. Okay. Well, I suppose we kind of knew that. Well, I suppose he could have wolf horned to Clonfelfrand, or wolf horned to Toulouse and then win to Clonfelfrand, or Clonfelfrand Geneva, whatever. There are still there's 3 copies of newspaper, which would act as a money trail. There's 3 copies of scouts. So I understand the thought that there are at least half a dozen cards in there that would at least provide you with that could provide you with information, without having to delay. But you have kind of already delayed. Santander, and not Dublin either. So therefore they know they must advance on mainland Britannia. And they scanned France, so it's not any of these for that. So unless it was a fake wolf horn to Galway, in which case he may give them the slip. Although I seriously doubt that to be the case. Even if that is the case, he could actually. Well, no, hide is on the trail. Yeah, good catch, Strider. So therefore, yeah, Ireland's off the. They now know 100% that he's up here, which, and they didn't have to use hypnosis, but that was kind of the situation that hypnosis is like really meant to be used for. Oh, wax cylinders. Oh. Hide is right there. Okay. But I think that he may be doing a bit of a psychological game by showing that now. He'll be discouraging PizzaWizard from apparently there was no psychological game involved. Apparently I was wrong. He wasn't playing. Yeah, I agree that this has to be English Channel, North Sea English Channel, wolf form, almost certainly to Swansea. The problem is that there's only one excellent weather left, so it will take them a couple days to get there. One person. It is possible for him to send one hunter on ahead, but I think that the last excellent weather would be best served being like having have that be with Van Helsing, while he just stays back, sits at Nantes to intercept him. Use that to intercept him if he goes to Ireland, I think. Alright, so I think that PizzaWizard would feed now. Well, except they can't. If he had feed up, that would have been the time to do it, just before week 4 started. So you don't waste. But Dracula will have to be very careful, because the hunters can chase him off here. But if he gets away with too little health, Rufus is in play. Rufus can still confine Dracula's movement somewhat. if he takes enough damage. Okay. Excellent weather. There it is. So, getting Seward there a bit ahead of the others. And I agree that Seward is typically like the most individually threatening. Let's see. Yeah, so this will likely be a frustrating situation for PizzaWizard because that is most likely the hide card that he just threw down. So, but what does he do? Can he really stay here? That's hard to say. We're out of proxy events, so if he leaves and moves by sea again, it'll be hard to track him down. I suppose I actually might keep both Van Helsing and Mina back, so as to have hypnosis at the ready for that purpose. Yeah, wax cylinders. Oh, he did not hide. Oh, that's interesting. Does Van Helsing have CG? Because if so, he could potentially at like CG Hotel, CG, or if he's at Manchester, CG Nuke. Yeah, if they have the second renewed vigor, they can use that to land and then horse to places in England. Yeah, I agree that they definitely could have fake wolfed London, which I think that given how much movement PizzaWizard knows he has to make, that could have been just a necessary risk. He had enough health to get whacked back into the sea. But if it came to that, yeah, he also could have fake wolves to Plymouth. Oh, here comes the CG. So at this point, like, Dracula is almost certainly going to get forced off England. The hard part is, will the hunters be able to find him again? Okay, not Manchester. Yeah, PizzaWizard is far too seasoned to fall into that trap. Okay, that's where he just was, so he's at Liverpool. Yeah, so it was fake flown to London. I yeah, in point of fact, I think that I might have actually just given up on the idea of a nuke and simply settled for a hotel, even if he was at Manchester. So from here, I think that you send okay. So what does he have here? He has 3 vampires. What are your chances? Yeah, he could have put the permanent token on Dublin and then simply used the other ones to potentially just force him to move up into Seward. I actually think that when it comes to Ireland, like Godalming can move over from the North Sea to the North Atlantic to discourage that, and that will mean that he will be closer in general. I do not know if you can realistically get these. And 3 points, 4 points. That all of these are vampires. One of those reckless, the others are new vampires. So I think that you may want to just have Seward move off England immediately. Let him have the 4 points. Wipe away 8 of the fire vamps. Whatever. Get it over and done with. Rufus is still in play, so, and he's. Oh, that's a tough one. You know there are no surprising returns left, but the thing is, considering how low Dracula will be, it's possible that all you will need is the heroic leap card. I agree. I agree that in this case Rufus is more important than Aggie. This is one of the cases where that is true. I would now move Mina also to North Atlantic because he cannot move to the English Channel. Okay. Now the hunters are trying to do 2 things at once. They're trying to clear all these vampires while still getting Dracula. I don't like that. I would have just let it be, let him have 4 points. It's possible that the thing is that 3 points he goes up to 4, 4 points he goes up to 5. It's really no difference in terms of Fury of Dracula points. Like how much of a difference it'll make. So therefore, I just disagree with that flat out. I would just let him have the 4 points, leave England to its leave England. I suppose it is important to bring some people here in case he chooses to come back, as the North Sea will be sliding off, but. So you might actually want to send Godalming back there if he moves a 3rd sea zone. Okay. Just standard vampire ambush so far. Is it possible? It's possible that there could be a holy bullets here. She is showing a pistol, so we could have a holy bullets play happen. And 1 ambush point wouldn't be enough to make a difference at this point. Okay. Oh, Fang went for the Fang but dodged it. Claws into escape. Eh. You know, Strider, with all these comments in Twitch chat, perhaps someday you might want to join me for co-commentary for another game. Which while that subject is on, Kadric and Gio will actually be playing their first match today at 20 UTC. I will be streaming that one as well. So that will be coming up later today. For people in the Eastern time, that is 3 p.m. our time. If you would be interested, Strider, I would be happy to let you. Join me for a turn in the commentary booth. Okay. Okay, does he have a stake? Okay. Alright, Strider. I see. Rufus Smith doing his work, putting Dracula down into heroic leap range. Dracula landing from North Atlantic would be a very perilous business. Lol newspaper. Yeah, we know that is North Atlantic. So you say go to North Sea and go to Berlin, Wolf to Berlin. I agree that would be a viable measure of play, especially with Goldaming doing that. I think going to North Sea would be a good idea, but it is noteworthy that Goldaming made sure to choose a port that has the rail line. It's possible that he has a chartered carriage, as we haven't seen any of those, not even revealed by Mina yet. There's still another renewed vigor on account for. You can do. The thing about Berlin is that it is precisely within range of a chartered carriage alone. I think that Leipzig would actually still be a better choice, even though there's no CG. Because the hunters will take into account the fact that they have used CG. How many Dracula events are still left in the pile? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 8 more. There are 8, so it's 8 out of 24. Precisely 1 in 3 odds. I wouldn't be surprised if there are more stakes up in England, because there's only currently one in the discard. One thing we could see from CombatWombat is he could be going for clearing all this because he has a vampire lair, and that would in this case the mini renewed vigor would actually be used as a mini renewed vigor against PizzaWizard. wouldn't that be fun to see? Yeah. Both excellent weathers are gone, so that's not happening. He will have, if he does want to go another sea zone, if he doesn't go another sea zone, they will know exactly where he is, and he will just be trapping himself. So that's letting on island is just foolishness. No, you need the obscurity of whether you have gone English Channel, North Sea, or South Atlantic. And I suppose Seward will need to stay up. Oh, he was removing all his layers. Okay. I suppose he's doing that perhaps while he has it on his mind, because one of his layers was at Hamburg. Yeah, this is going to be very tight for PizzaWizard, but if he manages to pull it off, that'll be a good start for him in this knockout phase. Although, mind you, this IDS is looking very good for CombatWombat. And what's more, since he didn't place any desecrated soils up there, there isn't even any chance of healing except by feeding, which would mean that you don't get points that day. That's one more day you're giving the hunters. So no, you just gotta ride it out with what you've got left. Yes, CombatWombat has played an excellent hunter game. I will agree there. Should he get through PizzaWizard, which I think all of us would like to see, no disrespect to PizzaWizard, but we are definitely, all of us would definitely like to see a new name on the annual league crown. PizzaWizard won't lose hunters? Well, you say that, but Arthur Wynn beat him as Dracula, so maybe CombatWombat can too. But if indeed PizzaWizard does win the Fear of his hunter game, then against CombatWombat, then well, he simply needs to make sure that he gets superior IDS so that he can hunt again. Both sides will be simply looking to make maximum IDS of that game. Or rather, at least, well, PizzaWizard will definitely need to win that game too, but CombatWombat simply needs to make sure that he gets as much IDS as possible. Even if he loses. Rufus Smith, doing his work. Taking Dracula through the most stormy seas to make sure he loses more health. So I think that now I agree that North Sea is likely. And we gotta keep in mind, Mia still has this hypnosis, and and the very moment Dracula lands, she can use that with Seward, since she's up there with Seward. And that will tell the hunters where they need to go. move along to Germany? Normally, I would agree, Strider, but since you do have hypnosis and you have plenty of time, even if he lands this turn, which I believe that he shall, he won't want to go down to 1 HP. He will at the very least be able to he will be able to react to the hypnosis. I would say just continue supplying with both of them. Except possibly move Van Helsing down to Bordeaux so that they're both on the rail line and can both react with a charred carriage, or at least threaten to. Discarding a Heavenly Host. Now that you've already used CG, I can see why you do that. And now you move Mina to Swansea, I suppose? Especially if he's picked up another stake. Yeah, and then next turn, you move Seward to Swansea, and then have Mina use Hypnosis. Yeah, this is going to be a very tense finale. Dracula will get a little bit of a head start due to that little weight that the hunters will have to get. The hunters will have to do unless they have a speed telegraph. Before they can chase after him and start searching for him, but once they know what sea he landed from, he'll be hard pressed to keep ahead of them. He'll have to select the time when he uses his fog very carefully. We may end up making it into a week 5 with how much sea movement Dracula has been forced to take. It would appear then that Seward doesn't have a stake for that place. He was merely getting closer, because Mia does have a stake for this one. Alright, so it means that that's now 2 stakes in the discard down here. Alright, he landed normally, so he is in one of 5 locations. I mean, he can't be back in English Channel, to be sure. He can't be at London because he just led that. But he could be at Le Havre, he could be at Plymouth. So now, I would have Godalming supply one more time, have Seward move on to Mina, and then have Mina use Hypnosis. And besides, he might get his scouts. We still haven't seen any of the remaining scouts. Or, no, we saw 1. But there's still 2 scouts. and with that he could either rule out or confirm Germany. This is quite the tense finale. Okay, this. What are we going to discard here? Discard Lucy's Revenge. Good discard, says PizzaWizard. The fact that we haven't seen a vampire lair yet is actually a little bit surprising. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 14, 15, 17. So there's only 8 more left. Yeah, checking out Le Havre in case you got sneaky. Yeah, and now he'll be able to use hypnosis, and then the following day, and then tomorrow they search this and fight it out with this vampire. Yeah, Moon to Le Havre also gets Van Helsing on the rail line, so he will be able to. And I am assuming that there considering that there are 3 copies of the Char character and we haven't seen a single one yet, I am assuming that there will be at least one on either Goldaming or Van Helsing. He will Wolf next? Entirely possible. Entirely possible. Oh. Oh, but now she won't be able to play hypnosis right now. Oh. I'm not sure I agree with this one. I mean, she will become undelayed by night, and then she can cast it the following day, especially if they have speed telegraph. This could be a fatal mistake, because if it turns out that he just doesn't go after it, that he waits to go after him for too long, I think that now, since they didn't play hypnosis today, he will actually wait to he'll actually wait to Wolf until after the hypnosis. Okay, Seward playing rifle. All right. Oh, and Seward has holy bullets to finish it off. That's holy bullets twice now. The irony of holy bullets being used twice in a game where PizzaWizard is Dracula. the absolute irony of it. This is quite nice. Is he perhaps trading a vampire lair to, like, who has a stake, or like a charred carriage? I don't know. Okay, so will he wolf form? And at the present, they know that he is next to a harbor. That he is on a harbor, rather. One of these three down here, or one of those two up there. Getting forewarned? I suppose that's completely valid. Okay, yeah, I think that he'll wait to wolf form until after the... I think he'll wolf form until after the hypnosis. This might sound weird, but I might... but I might have a Sewer do wax cylinders in case he hid. As that would be another way to reveal him. So he's got one more day to catch him unless he plays Vampire Lair, either today or tomorrow. In which case he's got 3 days worth of time to find him and finish him off. This is going to be a close game yet. Sense of emergency. Alright. Where to? Going down to Spain. Checking Granada. Interesting. I would have searched the port. Oh, scouts. Okay, so now you can check the North Sea. Cadiz and Santander, neither of the... Oh, that should have been the North Sea ports. Because then Van Helsing could have trained down in this direction, knowing for sure that he is going in the right direction. But now he will have to guess. Ooh. I think that may cost him the game. That scouts could have... and there's still Lisbon. But I think you, at this point, have to move Van Helsing. It's not GG yet. I think you have to move Van Helsing to Germany and assume that he's there. Van Helsing, so far as we know, does not have horses. That is a good point. Mind you, apparently that... Oh, right. Ah, yes. When they met in Paris, Mina did trade them to him. He actually foresaw that this situation might arise. So now he will... Okay, please use hypnosis. Come on. You gotta use hypnosis. You should have used it yesterday. As then Gul'dan would have known where he was going. What are you doing, CombatWombat? Use hypnosis. That will tell you for sure. There's still a third port that he could have landed from. Now tell me that you're going to use wax cylinders to test for a hide card. Okay, no hide card, but that is to be expected. Hmm. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. It's 6 out of 18. You may have to go for, like, finding that last scouts to figure out where he is. Oh, now he's doing it. So he is in Germany. Okay. Had you done that a couple days ago, I would not have would have been able to use sense of urgency to go in that direction. Strider pointedly pointing out that he called that. Honest, I don't know what PizzaWizard gains from that misdirect, because you are now in Germany and you have only moved once in a non-wolf form manner. That rules, and you didn't hide. That rules out Amsterdam anyway. That's going back to Fort with a fog. I suppose that's possible. It does add that possibility. That is true. And you can go to sea and then land again. That very insightful. Good point, Strider. We need they're going to need the second renewed vigor. It's not going to a port. That's a bluff. Well, especially with a wolf form, I would agree. If you were going to make that bluff, I would say, do it. Yeah, Van Helsing needs heroic leap. Maybe. I mean, Dracula's at 2 HP, so it's possible you might be able to get it away without it. But forewarned, definitely. It's entirely possible that it. I actually just would have done hide, long night. Okay. Okay, so if he's somewhere out of range of Van Helsing, then he has won. So both Goldami and Seward need to try to find that last scouts to find the location, so that Van Helsing can do it. So what within the realm of possibility is any of these locations here that I'm circling around. Also, I should include Zurich, because he landed at Hamburg. We know that much at this point. Oh, he could have gone to Berlin, and he could actually be at Vienna too. He could be hiding on Dolfog, yes. But honestly, I wouldn't waste the wolf form for a bluff like that. Alright, Van Helsing, what are you gonna do? Do you have the movement? Char Carriage, he's at 58. It seems as if, since he's playing Char Carriage, I think he thinks the same thing. He's either gonna check that or Munich, is my guess. I mean, possibly even Zurich. But, yep, this is a Vienna check. GG. This game goes to PizzaWizard. Yep, unfortunately, CombatWombat just waited far too long on using that hypnosis. Yeah, Vampire Lair. Yeah, he must have only just found it, because Mia apparently has the stake necessary to play the Vampire Lair. Wax cylinders. It was not a Wolfram hide. Yeah, so this game goes to PizzaWizard. Mia had great strength. Yeah, at this point you have to figure as Drac that he has that. Yep, there it is. 2 IDS victory. Oh, Milan. Wolf to and it was at Munich. Well done to PizzaWizard. CombatWombat has already told me that he cannot do post-game chat, but I'll invite PizzaWizard. Want a brief chat, PizzaWizard? Well, hey PizzaWizard, well played. That was a very close game, and I think that CombatWombat actually had it in his grasp, but he just waited far too long on the hypnosis. Ultimate.
Definitely a very close game. That was very stressful.
No feed for IDS, R2 says the spectator when he just popped in. You would correctly point out that he would then get to play Vampire Lair, and what's more, yeah, with you on 2 HP, you just couldn't afford that sort of risk. And there's Heroic Leap.
Yeah, like because I'm that low, like even though Godalming was on the other side of the map, I was like I could still lose if he just moves on to me with the Charge Carriage. Like,
yep.
And he has a forewarn, which I assume he does. I just die. Like forewarn, Heroic Leap, Charge Carriage, dead me.
Even a planned ambush would do the job at 2 HP.
Yeah, it's just like I'm so dead to
most of the time.
We're not gonna risk it.
What a first game. Aim to the knockout phase.
Yeah. I didn't expect to win it. I really thought I was going to lose the Vampire matchup. That's why I wanted to do it first, because I wanted to get it out of the way and then go into the Hunters knowing what IDS I need to win with.
Yeah, I think that ultimately, as I said, it was the lack of him playing Hypnosis even 1 day sooner. Because then Gladon could have sent an emergency to Germany instead, and then you would have had both of them on your tail. I
also think I think the CG play was maybe a tad. I talked about it in my recording. I think the CG play was maybe a tad early because it didn't really change. I was already planning to go to see that day anyway, and it forced me to do it, yes. But then it meant that I could land without having the wolf form, which really changed the map. That's what for me as Dracula. He played CG when I was in England. I mean, it stopped me from hiding there. Like, I was probably gonna. There's a chance I could have hidden with fogs. I had a fog that I was sitting on, or that I could have been sitting on.
Yeah,
so
he wanted.
limit my options, but
Considering the timing of it all, I don't blame him. Considering that you would have gotten 3 points while still in England, had he not done it.
yeah, I guess that's true.
So
he was able to get Rufus back in play, which made it very annoying.
Fine Strider. Strider is in chat saying that he called that you were going North Sea at the end there, and also called that you did the fake wolf form to London. Which I agree that was just a necessary risk to take if you are to have any chance there. So.
I took a long pause when I was in that North Atlantic. Like, I was thinking, like, am I even supposed to go Ireland here? But Ireland is really bad. I eventually figured out Ireland.
That would have just been a death sentence because especially with allowing Noon to the North Sea as he did. North Atlantic, that is.
And him not having the second vigor there is actually I mean, it's not crazy. I mean, it is unlikely. It's not crazy unlikely, but I mean, he should have it more times than not by far.
Yeah,
the second RV by then.
There are only 6 Dracula, counting the one, including the one on top. There are only 6 left. So there are only 6 Drac events left, which meant that there are only like I think 7 Hunter events left in the deck.
There was a lot of Dracula events left. Then we had a lot of them. I noticed that. I should have been looking.
By the end there were 20 in the discard. But I was counting the one on top. So, yeah, him not having the second RV, I was fully expecting the Vampire Lair to get played, but as he told us, he did find it, but the stake was just on the wrong Hunter. Unfortunate. But yeah, what a start to the knockout phase. I mean, if you would be at all interested, PizzaWizard, in 2 hours 15 minutes. Wakagic and Geo will be doing their first match. I don't know who is who as of yet, unless I simply forgot. But there will be that. If you would like to join me.
Well, let me check. I'm fairly certain. In 2 hours, you say?
It'll be 15? 2 hours 15 minutes.
I think I could do that. That could be fun.
Alrighty then. You heard it, folks. 2 hours 15 minutes from now, PizzaWizard and I will be covering Wakagic versus Geo. Strider is trying to bribe you, saying if you commentate, I'll watch.
Strider, don't worry. I'm happy to hear. I have one fan out there. We can do that.
Oh boy. But again, GG well played. And to those watching this on YouTube, I mean, there's more. This is but the first game of the knockout phase. There's more coming. Stay tuned as there will be as games will likely be coming quick and fast. As once the scheduling actually gets going, things will be coming very quick and fast. I imagine, as they tend to. I'll record as many of them as I can, but I can't but I can't record several games at once in the event they end up at the same times. But I do what I can. But in any event, thank you everyone for watching, Twitch and YouTube alike, and see you guys all next time. Bye.